So today I'm going to be talking about 5 different books and some of their visual elements that makes the books come alive for the children who were going to be reading them potentially. So I chose 5 different books. I kind of just chose them randomly, or I tried to choose ones that I had never heard of before and that I didn't read or have read before in the past. And I just thought that'd be really cool because I would like to be exposed to more picture books, like different genres, different art types, just so I could have some ideas of what to bring into my own classroom someday and get, my students interested in reading. So the first book that I chose was The Conductor. This is what it looks like. And like I said, I chose all these books randomly, but it was exciting to see when I picked these up from the library what they actually looked like, because I didn't know the sizes of the books, I didn't know what the pictures actually looked like. So that was really fun. But this book is actually kind of unique because it is really, really tall. So for comparison, this is probably like a normal size picture book. It's really tall and skinny, so it's kind of unique in that way. And this book is about this guy right here, which is the conductor. It starts by him walking into a forest. And then throughout the book, he's standing on top of one of these trees up here, and then he starts conducting. And then the leaves from the trees come alive and they turn into all different kinds of birds. And then throughout the book, they're just flying around all over. So I really liked this book because it was very unique. I've never seen anything like this before, and it's a wordless picture book, so that's kind of nice too. So if I were to potentially use this in my classroom, then I could have the kids make up their own story about the conductor and what they think he's doing and what's the purpose of him being in the forest. But this book is kind of unique because it only uses 3 or 4 different colors. They're all greens or yellows, and then obviously there's black to outline the different leaves and stuff. So there's very few colors that are in this book. There's also a lot of line detail. Inside all the leaves and all the birds, you can see there's lots of lines to emphasize the feathers in the birds, but they're actually made up of leaves. So that's really cool as well. And then you can tell, in these pages, you can kind of tell the movement of the birds as well. So the illustrator / author did a really good job of making the pictures look fluid and how they have movement. So that was really unique. So that's The Conductor. The next book that I got was The House in the Night, which looks like this. This book is unique as well because there's only a few colors in this one as well. So this book is just black and white, and then all of the things that is talked about in the actual story is highlighted in yellow. So basically it's about this little girl, and she goes home. Here she is, right here. She's on her way home for the night with her parents, so she's on a journey. So they give her the key to the house, which opens the door, and then when she gets inside, she sees the lamp is on, and then there's some flowers over here, and then the different things in the room are lit up with yellow, so those kind of give light to her life, and they're important to her. So that's showed throughout the book, and then at the end it just talks about how there's so much light in her life. There's different stuff, but I really like this book because there's a lot of detail. It's black and white, but you can obviously tell what things are in her house. You can tell that she has a dog, and it's just very unique. It's probably done with pencil or charcoal or something like that, but everything is just lines. There's hardly any curved lines. Most of it is either checkered, the bedspread is checkered, her floor is checkered. So that's kind of cool to see that. And there's not a whole lot of warmth in this book. Since it is black and white, you can really tell the certain things that are yellow in the book that they're emphasized, and they're supposed to bring light to this little girl's life, and so that's really cool. So yeah, this would be a good book for the students, and then you could possibly talk about what makes you happy, what is something that's yellow in your life. So that's really cool. And then the next book that I have is Black and White. This is what the cover looks like. And this is actually a very, very, very unique book. I have never in my life seen something like this. So at the very beginning, like this is the title page, and it has a big warning sticker here, and it says, "This book appears to contain a number of stories that do not necessarily occur at the same time. Then again, it may contain only one story. In any event, careful inspection of both words and pictures is recommended." So this is what the first page looks like, her first couple pages. So it's kind of like split up into like 4 different stories, and there's just a line down the middle that separates them. So there's one that's called Seeing Things, this one is called Problem Parents, this one is A Waiting Game, and this is Utter Chaos. And so as you go through the book, there's just like 4 separate stories, but then at the end they all connect and kind of make one story. So this one up here, which was called Seeing Things, this is about a boy who's on a train. He's going to meet his parents. It doesn't say whether he was like with his grandparents or staying somewhere else, but at the end he comes home to his parents, so it kind of just shows his journey throughout the whole story. And then this story down here is called Problem Parents. And so at the beginning it just talks about how the little boy is the narrator. It talks about how like the things that parents do, how they don't really pay attention to you. They have the same routine all the time. Like his parents go to work in the morning, they come home at night, and they just check the mail and then send the kids to bed. And then one night his parents come home and they're dressed in newspapers. You can see right there. And so he kind of just like talks about like how weird his parents are and how crazy it is that they were doing that, and he doesn't really know why. And then this one on the top right, which was called A Waiting Game. Basically, these people are waiting for a train. It's not coming. They don't know where it is. So throughout the whole story, they just like wait in line. And then every few pages it says like, "Sorry for the inconvenience. The train is on its way. It's behind schedule." So then this lady actually gets a newspaper and she starts like folding it up, and she folds it into a hat and kind of starts entertaining all the other passengers. And then they start following suit. And that's how that goes. And then this one down here, Utter Chaos. There's hardly any words in this one, but basically it's like a guy that broke out of jail and he's like escaping, and the best way that he could blend in was with cows, because at night you can't tell if cows are black or white. So he kind of, he has like the traditional black and white uniform as a prisoner, so he kind of just like sneaks out with the cows. And then in the end, the stories kind of all collide. So the boy on the train opens the train window and there's newspapers flying everywhere. And the parents in this story down here ripped up the mail, so it kind of looks like the newspaper kind of like fell into the mail. And then up here, these people start ripping up the newspapers and like making a mess and stuff. And so the train arrives at this station, and that's how this newspaper comes into the train, is because of these people. So that's kind of cool. But I really liked this book. Like I said, it was very interesting, something I've never seen before. It's pretty colorful. This story down here especially doesn't have very many color variations in it. It's mostly just like brown, different variations of brown, and then black and white. So that's kind of cool. And then this one, Utter Chaos, is black and white as well, and then the background is green for the most part. Otherwise, like this one, just completely black. This one up here has the most color, so you can kind of just see like all the differences. Basically all the people are dressed in like gray or brown, but the background is really colorful with the sky and the green and orange on the roof of the train station. And then this one up here was definitely done in watercolor. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it's very dark as well. It's just this little boy who's on his train journey to get home to meet his parents. And it just looks very different compared to all the others. This one almost looks like it could be painted as well, but also in some books it looks like maybe someone could like cut up construction paper and glue it, and that would be their pictures, and that kind of looks like that is this picture. And This one is definitely watercolor, and this one, the background is watercolor and stuff, so. But that's just really unique and kind of a different book. I'm not sure what I would use this for in my class. Maybe like do a read aloud, or maybe have like the kids do this type of thing as well, kind of create like a comic book type of feel with like the 4 different squares, but maybe trying to do like 2 different stories or something, maybe a story on top, a story on bottom, and then they somehow tie together at the end, some type of writing prompt or something like that. And then this was my favorite book. So this is called A Couple of Boys Have the Best Week Ever. This was a really cute book. When I first got this, I thought it was going to be almost like a comic book, or it reminded me of like Captain Underpants, like that type of like cover almost, I guess, if you want to say. So I thought it was going to be kind of like a comic book format, but it's really not. So this book is about 2 little boys, Bill and Elam, and they go to a nature camp during the week. So Bill is staying with his grandparents for the summer, and Elam comes to stay with him for a week because they're going to go to a camp together. So it kind of just talks about like their week at camp, and then kind of what they did with Elam's grandparents during the week. So it's just really, really cute. It's a really cute book, really cute drawings. I think like a lot of like younger boys, like maybe first, second grade, would really, really love this book because it's something they'd be interested in, because it talks about all the things that the boys do like at camp, and then at night they come home, they play video games, they like invent things, they make different things, go to the beach. So that's just like really cool. So the pictures are very realistic. The characters are very like cartoony, but you can totally tell they're like humans. You can tell that the boys are little, and then obviously they're with the grandparents. This is a really cute page. And it looks like it's done with like color pencils or something of that sort. The pictures are very detailed and they're fun to look at, so I think kids would love that. But you can really see like on this page like the movement of the kids, and you can really tell that like kids could do this like in real life. They could move around like this, do the activities they're doing, like they're walking on their hands here, and you can tell they're running here just by like the stance they have. There's lots of colors used in this book. This page is really cool because it's all blue, like light blues, and then whites as well, because it's signifying that they're outside at night. But most of the book has lots of blue, red, yellow, green as well, kind of like boy colors if you want to say. So this book is just really, really cool. I enjoyed this one a lot. So I'd probably use this in my book, maybe, or use this book in my classroom, maybe after like the students come back from summer. So at the very beginning of the year, we could write about like their best week ever that they had during the summer, and maybe create like a little scrapbook or comic book or something of the sort. So it would kind of be like a writing prompt, and then also have art elements in it. And then my last book that I chose was 8, An Animal Alphabet. So this one is really cool because each page has a letter of the alphabet on it. So this is the first page, and it's A, and it has all these different animals on here, and they all start with an A. And the significance of the 8 is that on each page there's 8 drawings of a particular animal that starts with that letter. So on this page there'd be 8 ants. And then it just goes through all the letters of the alphabet, all the different animals. So for H, there's 8 hummingbirds. And so at the beginning of the book, the author tells the reader to count all the different animals on the pages, and then decide which one has 8, and then just to make sure they found all the animals. And then on the bottom it lists the animals as well for the students. So that's really cool. And then at the very back, the last page, or not the last page, but towards the end it says the end, but then on the bottom it says, but wait, there's more, turn the page. And what's really cool is that the last like few pages are just did you know? So just random facts about every single animal that was featured in the book, and it's in alphabetical order, and it has pictures of each animal so the students have reference for that as well. So that's really, really cool. The pictures are very realistic. You can tell for sure what animal is which. You can tell the author and illustrator were very intentional about what animals they chose, because They chose animals that students would know or potentially have been exposed to, maybe without a zoo, or like here in Sioux Falls or South Dakota, when they're out driving like in the Black Hills or something like that. So that's really cool. And these are all done what to me it looks like with watercolor, so paints. So like in this elephant, it has different colors in it. The dolphins are very uniquely painted. And you can tell they're watercolors just by like the movement of the paint. And yeah, and there's a lot of like space, so like all the pages are white, and then the animals like are not in a background. You can't tell, you know, where they would live because there's no background or like setting or anything. So I thought that was really unique as well. So there's not like, you know, a hippo over here in like a swamp or something, and then a horse over here in a pasture. They're just all on the same page with just a white background, which I really like because I think that it just looks nice, has a good balance of space, and then the animals and pictures as well. So that's really cool. And I would probably use this book in my classroom, like maybe in a kindergarten or first grade classroom. And if we were talking about like a certain animal, I would just pull this out and maybe have this at like a lit station or something, so they could like go around, and if they head to that station, then they could just flip through the book, maybe decide which animal is their favorite, maybe like write about it, or possibly draw their own representation of the animal. So those are the 5 books that I chose for my visual elements this week.